So here's the thing. The thing is, today I was on standby. And they didn't call me.
I feel good. I knew that I would. I feel good.
Standby days can be a little bit of a gift and a curse at the same time. On the one hand, it's a day that's potentially filled with rest and relaxation. Nobody calls you, nobody bothers you, and you just have the day off. On the other hand, it's a day that can be filled with a lot of anxiety. And let me tell you why. You see, my standby started at around 4 o'clock in the morning, which means that even at 3 o'clock in the morning, while I was sleeping, deep in my subconscious, I was thinking to myself, what if they call me? And obviously this is not the best way to start the day. It's not optimal. Speaking of which, 2 minutes, I'll be back. Coffee. That's better. It's only instant coffee, so this is also not optimal, but to be honest, it works for me. It's not the YouTube coffee you're probably used to, but we will upgrade eventually, I'm assuming. So let's pretend that you get to 7 a.m. You wake up and are still completely notification free. That's good. Well, you still have to go live your life and do human things, but it is important to have the I am on standby voice in your head guide you to better decision making, and that equates to planning your day accordingly. But what exactly is a standby? I think for this question, I will bring you along so we can do some of those human things. I am looking a little bit scruffy and your boy needs a haircut. So standbys, or alternatively named reserve days, exist to provide flexibility to the airline in case of any sick crew or an aircraft failure or a whole bunch of other operational requirements. Let me not get knocked over here. Essentially, they are potential off days if you don't get called. But what exactly happens if you do? What can you do? What are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? I thought today would be a great day to bring you along, to give you some insight to what I do on my standbys. Of course, everyone's a bit different. But yeah, thought it would be exciting for people to have a look. So join me along with the journey. So that is the haircut complete. I would say I look more or less the same, but that's because I'm one of those people that just get the same haircut every single time I go. And because I have such a cheap hairdresser, barber, it's only €7, €8 now, because after COVID they had to up the prices. I can get multiple haircuts a month, so that works out for me. Anyway, we are going to get on with the fitness activities for the day, which include some football, some yoga, and some gym. And that's going to be pretty much our day. We have arrived. How cool was that? Football, right? Yeah, the beautiful game. I've been playing football for a couple of years. Since I was probably like 7, I took it seriously, somewhat seriously, and I guess the passion just hasn't faded. Now I don't really do it in a club level or anything like that, but I just enjoy kicking a ball around. It's always some good fun, very primitive work. But yeah, so that's the football component done. Now we're going to go home, take a shower, because it's about 32 degrees here in Madrid, and I need the shower. Natalia will not be okay if I don't. And yeah, the plan is afterwards to do some gym, do some yoga, and we will then be very tired and very exercised so we can go and sleep later. Because tomorrow we're waking up at around 4 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, all this exercise is good for putting you to sleep at around 8. That's the plan anyway. So, we are back at the apartment. I'm smelling pretty good, even if I do say so myself. That shower helped a lot. I've got the air conditioning running, so life is just spectacular at this moment. I will probably give a miss on the gym later today, just because towards the end of that football session, I was starting to feel some lower back pain. So probably best to have some rest and make sure that I go into tomorrow's 4-sector day without any injuries. I think it's a good segue into telling you a little bit about the restrictions of the standby, how they apply to you, and also what you can do to prevent them being a problem. The number one most important aspect of a standby for me would be the proximity towards the airport. Depends on which company you're working for, and in my case, it's 1 hour, minimum of 1 hour from when they call me to when I need to get to the airport. So if they call you at 3 p.m., you need to be there at 4 p.m. This usually doesn't happen, and I'd say the quickest that they've needed me to be there has been about 95 minutes, which is more than feasible. It means that you also need to plan your activities and your day according to this principle. And for this reason, things like going on a road trip 3 hours away, it's not really feasible. I'd also say another important factor for the standby is always to have your phone available, which means activities like surfing, for example. Even if you live 15 minutes away from the airport and you live on the beach, it's still a little bit of a hit and miss on whether you should go surfing or not, because you need to have a lot of trust in your iWatch or your Samsung Watch or whatever, just because if you're out there catching waves and you get a call and you don't get notified, well, that's seen as a no-show for the company. And for that reason, I would err on the side of caution and just don't surf during your standbys. Simple as that. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it just depends on how risk-averse you are, and I tend to be on the more cautious side. You've seen me go get my haircut, go play football. I'm going to be doing yoga a little bit later, but all of these activities, I'm number one within 10 minutes of my apartment, and I have my phone available if I need it. The other factor would be not drinking, not getting intoxicated during your standby. It is a duty day, so if they call you and you've chugged down a couple of beers, it's a criminal offense, and obviously you don't want to be. There's no point. On a day like this, where my standby was in the morning, this is a lot easier to deal with because I was never ever planning to drink any alcohol during this time anyway. I'm not British. I would like people in the comments, if you are British, please tell me what is up with this drinking philosophy. I've seen so many people at the airport, 8 a.m., just plastered out of their mind. It's incredible. Very fun to watch, I must say, but perplexing to say the least. So while I show you some of my terrible yoga poses and postures, I think it's a pretty good time to say a very big thank you to all of the people involved within aviation, and also to the partners of those involved, because it is very difficult to be the companion of a cabin crew, a pilot, a ground crew, catering for the airport, security services, you name it. It's a 24-hour business, which means at any moment in time, you need to be up and ready to work. And of course, that affects the employee, but it also impacts the partner of the employee. In my case, tomorrow I need to wake up at 4 o'clock. So Natalia and I will be starting our nighttime routine at roughly 8 p.m. and in bed at 9 p.m. watching some Netflix. If I'm lucky, some chill. And to conclude, I just want to say thank you for making it this far in the video. I've wanted to start a YouTube channel for quite some time, but to be honest, I've just been very lazy. I think now I'm at the right headspace to put one foot forward at a time and try and get the content pumped out as quickly as possible. I will probably be centering around vlogs, pilot vlogs initially, and afterwards maybe asking some questions, answering some questions that you guys have asked, and putting it into video format. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you around for the next one. Cheers.